Won't you come follow me? I'll take time to notice all that I see. And after I've come so far, you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away, oh. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. But life is a vision, faces are free. At the end of the journey, where all is complete, they'll all wonder where I've gone, but you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. Our dreams last forever, for all that we know. The roads come together, and that's where we'll go.
Buenos, Micronesia, Japan, Philippines, those of you throughout the rest of the country, those of you serving our country overseas, welcome to our studios here in Tumon, Guam. My name is Troy Torres for Kandit News. It is January 14th. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning in Guam. I hope the same, you can say the same wherever you are. And for wherever you are, thank you so much for joining us this morning for the news. This is part two because our stream got interrupted last night. IT started conducting their system maintenance about 3 hours earlier than they said that they would, but it's fine. At least we can join you for this morning, or is it this morning? Yeah, thanks for joining us for the news. Our very first thing that we're gonna get to, because he has a busy schedule, is a phone call with Senator James Moylan regarding his community, what do you call that thing? Town hall meeting in Agate last night. Hi, Senator. Hello. Hi, Senator. Oh. Let's call him from my cell phone instead.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Senator.
Hi, I'm trying to get my car.
Can you hear me?
Now you're in my car speaker.
Okay.
Yeah, I can put down my phone and be legal. How about that?
I'm all about being legal these days.
Right on. That's good. In fact, let me just pull over. There we go. How are you doing?
I'm doing well this morning. Thank you, Senator. How are you?
Oh, great. Thank you.
Well, you know, our viewers are very interested in how your town hall meeting went last night, what was discussed, and whether any solutions were tossed about.
Oh, okay. Thanks for asking. It was a good town hall meeting. We were in Agate this time, and this, I think, is our seventh meeting, and of course we had the 19 villages to go to,
Okay.
and we started in November, so we have a good pace going. And from the conversations we had, actually, Troy, I can hear my voice. I know my radio is not on, but I'm trying to gather my thoughts as I listen to my voice at the same time. Can you hear feedback here?
No, there's no feedback.
Okay, all right. So anyway, some of the concerns that they brought up was about the minors
Okay.
and being unsupervised and the troubles they're having at the minors. One of the stories was in the high school, at Southern High School, a situation where one of the residents was dealing with a child who seemed a little bit off, but basically the child had vodka in the water bottle, which was kind of disturbing, but when I learned that it's the same color, right? So it's something that could easily be done. So that was interesting. So basically, they wanted more supervision for children. They have also them. Troy, I'm going to switch it to my handphone here.
Okay.
Turn off the echo I'm hearing. Hold on for a minute, please.
No problem.
Okay.
Better?
I still hear it, but that's all right.
You know what, Senator? Let me call you back from.
Mischief they're getting involved in.
Senator, let me call you back from my cell phone.
Will be picked up and
Hello, Senator.
with authorities, but then they're back out on the streets then shortly after. So they're missing the rehabilitation part with the kids.
Okay.
So I'm kind of frustrated with that. So we were talking about also one of our bills to Bill 143, which, by the way, we'll be having a public hearing tomorrow.
Okay.
And that's also putting the parents or the guardians responsible for minor children if they cause mischievous or if they cause damage to public, private, or private property.
Okay.
As well. So putting them responsible for that with restitution and community service, and making the parents or the guardians also responsible to help teach the child and a lesson so they don't grow up to become adult criminals too. So that's one of the concerns. And then the other concern, which is we hear in other villages too, is about greater police presence.
Mm-hmm.
And one instance they gave or shared was the Agate Mango Festival, where, let me see, I believe it was used, but 3 times during the festival, the vendors were robbed. The youth would come over and just grab their cash box and run away. So 3 times during their last event, and they had asked for greater police presence at the event too, but were unable to get it. Then another comment was made regarding these 100 police officers that is supposed to be being hired. And more questions are coming up about that. When is this going to happen? Where would they be? But also, this question last night was, what about the support for these police officers? They're going to need so many vehicles. How are we going to maintain these vehicles? And where would the money be coming from to do this for these 100 new police officers?
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't manage our money properly today, how are we going to do this for this future of these police officers to ensure that they can function properly? So there was a lack of confidence coming from that statement of one of the residents in the area that's talking about that. Another one interesting was from a teacher, and she commented about, we need to start a community program like now. We need to sit down with GPD right now in our villages. And we've had so many discussions, but we need to act. We need to take some real action. And that's something we heard in Dedido and in Mauricio as well. So basically, in summary, what they're telling us is like, we've had enough meetings. Let's take some action and follow up and come back to us and tell us how you're doing. So, which I appreciated their comments, and I can see their frustration, and just wondering let's get it going. Let's get some movement going, and we expressed our bills that we introduced, and what we're doing, our part as a senator, which I introduce bills, I don't enforce it, and we try to strengthen existing laws, or we need to make new laws. So, but it was very good and helpful that those comments continued, because it does strengthen my points and helps me understand better about the community's concerns. So I'm glad that happened, and looking forward to our next one, which will be in Tuning on the 28th of this month, which is Tuesday.
Senator, well, I don't know if anyone from Guam Police Department was there, or whether you've had the opportunity to have these conversations with GPD, but of course, Kandit reported first, and then the DEA confirmed that the price of meth was reduced dramatically. I don't want to sound trite about it, but over the holidays. But at some point, the price of meth may go back up. Has the Guam Police Department said anything about what efforts they might have to curtail or to deter robberies and thefts? Because, you know, the trends and the statistics show that when the price of drugs go up, of course, robberies and thefts go up as well. So is anything, you have any indication from anyone in the government about some plan in place to help deter that?
No, I do not, and I have written to the governor and have not received an answer on that as well.
Okay.
So that goes back to what the communities are saying in our town hall meetings here. Show us the action. Tell us the plan. Right now we're in the dark, and we don't understand why things aren't being accomplished and action is not being taken.
Okay.
So I'm just there to help and trying to give my best assistance while I'm still in a situation where I can be your senator.
Senator, Ken Leon Guerrero has been leading a campaign to raise awareness of the role of the Attorney General's office in the criminal justice system, and he's been quite critical of the Attorney General. Have you been in contact with the Attorney General about any solutions that his office may be working on, or anything that he may be helping you with, or you may be helping him with?
No, I'm actually waiting on a couple of answers from the Attorney General regarding our questions. One being, when is it necessary that to have an acting lieutenant governor? We need directions on that. And
Okay.
then the other one was the drug testing for the legislature. We're
Okay.
the only branch of government that does not have any drug testing roles. So I was trying to get his opinion on that as well. But to answer your question on taking action, right, as the Attorney General's office, we do know during his budget request that he is needing additional attorneys to. It says we were supposed to beef up the police department. The anticipation is there'll be more criminal charges. The Attorney General needs more help, but that hasn't come about yet either. But the actions to take on things that are happening today, no, I have no information coming from that office.
Okay, and the other night, we want to thank you because you were one of two senators who placed a phone call on behalf of the Estrelado family to call in or to help, I guess, scoot things along with the response to their phone call of criminal complaint against one of their neighbors. And it was after your phone call and Speaker Munya Barnes' phone calls, and apparently dozens of phone calls from Kandit viewers that police officers did respond. The police officers who did respond were, they seemed very professional, very courteous. I want to ask a couple of things about this. One is, who did you speak with at the Hagåtña precinct if they gave you a name? And two, your general thoughts on this whole issue of the criminal justice system not working when the assailant happens to be well connected to the criminal justice system.
Yeah, well, I do in my village too. I call NGPD often for things I see going on. The names of officers I don't really recall, but going to when we're well connected, I guess that just goes with how can I say it? It's where we live, right? We're almost related to everybody, which is a good thing and sometimes not a good thing too. But we still got to do our job. We still have to act professional, and we have to carry out our duty for the good of the island. If things are being run where some folks are getting favors that shouldn't have, then that's absolutely wrong. And it's not good for the island at all. So I would not appreciate that happening.
So the latest information that we have from Sergeant Paul Tapau that came this morning is that Andrew Castro had not yet been arrested. We're going on the second day since the second complaint. We're going on, I believe it's now the 7th day or the 8th day since the first complaint was made, and no arrest has been made as of yet. Is this something, I know you're a member of the minority and you cannot call an oversight hearing, but is this something that you would support, some sort of inquiry into what's going on?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I support that. And it's not the first time, or this incident is not the first I've heard of like that, where I've even had a constituent see about her neighbor's house and she's taking down license plates down and everything and talking about all the activity going on over there. Still nothing has been done. You know, that as a 35th Guam legislature, these are things that we should be addressing now. These are actions I believe the community wants to be addressed now. You know, we're doing a lot of things, but I don't think these are the priorities that we should, that we're doing the right priorities, actually.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. We're already 1 year in, and what have we done about crime? What have we done about education and public health? But we got a whole lot of resolutions, and we got a whole lot of feel-good stuff happening. And how does that really help us at the end? So I'm hoping, we have 10 months left, that we can take some good action in what the people want done, like what you're expressing with the police force, what the communities are expressing with the kids out there, right? And all our other lack of police force, manpower, and the shortages of customs officers and so forth. These are the things we should be addressing now in our short time left as the legislature. So hopefully, with your support, all the media support, and the out there in the community raising their voices, that you can drive the train of the Guam legislature in the right direction. So I appreciate that.
Thank you for that, Senator. Just a couple more points. I know it's almost impossible to steer away from, but ever since I was screwed over by the Calvo administration, I have hated that phrase, "the right direction," because
I didn't realize.
matter of fact, I was the one who came up with that stupid slogan in 2014. Actually, it was in 2013 that I came up with that slogan. No, I'm just kidding around with you. The second thing you mentioned customs, and I signed a petition and shared it on Facebook for hazard pay for customs officers. I didn't realize that customs officers weren't getting hazard pay.
They actually can. However, the Department of Administration is the one that approves it, and it's only at the time when a hazard exists. And if it only existed for 10 minutes, then you got to prove it, and then you get paid for that period of time. And it goes back and forth, and right now the customs officer in charge of that part has boxes of things that were returned from Department of Admin asking for more specifics. So it's a waste of time how it operates. And the Guam Police Department at one time was also part of that, but it changed to having it available all the time. So it's the same thing that we're doing for the Guam's customs. And it's based on what they call a toll, and it identifies the position who is eligible for hazardous pay based on where they are at and what function they are doing. If they're moved, then they no longer are given hazardous pay. So following what Guam Police Department does as well. So that would be the right thing to do for the Guam Customs Authority.
I would just think that so long as you're in the line of duty, you're exposed to hazards. Wouldn't that be correct?
Yes, if you were moved around or assigned to a certain thing to do. But it's still based on their assignment.
I see. I see.
Yeah, so it will be it's a better system than allowing Department of Administration to do it because they don't understand how the customs operates. So that's why these questions go back and forth, and it makes things just too cumbersome, too much red tape.
Yeah. Is this your bill that's
Yeah.
that has? Oh, okay. Okay. Well, cool. Well, I signed that petition. No problem. I didn't even realize it was your bill. But I'm sure Customs says thank you for doing that for them. So
Yes, and we're hoping they can come out and get a public hearing on this, and they can express it to my fellow classmates, I call them, in the 35th Guam legislature.
where is the bill in the process?
I believe it was introduced, so now we need to get it assigned to a committee.
So that has not happened yet.
It has not.
How long ago did you introduce the bill, Senator?
It should be last week.
Last week? Okay. You know what? We'll follow up with Senator Regine Bisco-Lee's office and see what's going on with that.
That'd be great.
Okay. Thank you so much, Senator. You have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hold on. Let me message Philip with Senator Regine Lee's office. Girl, what's up with customs hazard pay bill? When will referral happen? This issue with one of the last big topics that we discussed with Senator James, that was Senator James Wood on the line. One of the last big topics that we discussed with him was the incident a couple of nights ago where Kandit was live from 150 Teresita Street in Mangilao. It's behind the Department of Youth Affairs compound. And that's where, how many videos did we do that night? 4 or 5? I think 4, right? Right. We went live 4 times that night. From the time that we were waiting for police to respond to Jean-Pierre Estrelado's phone call for service that he placed at the Hagåtña precinct. And then 2 hours after that phone call was placed, the first officers arrived. But prior to those officers arriving, it really was your phone calls to the Hagåtña precinct, Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes' phone call to the Hagåtña precinct, and also Senator Moylan's calls that I believe truly helped to produce a response from the Guam Police Department. Because if you heard the phone call, recorded conversation between Mr. Estrelado and Officer Alexander Gallo with the Hagåtña precinct, Police Officer 2 Alexander Gallo, if I'm not mistaken, who happens to be with the in crowd all over Governor Lulian Guerrero's inauguration festivities. Definitely someone who is connected within the administration. And this guy was mocking Mr. Estrelado during that phone call. Do we have that on the TriCaster, Chelo, so people can hear that conversation again? Is that something that we have, or we would have to load? I have it on WhatsApp. Would that be okay? Yeah. The audio file? Yeah. Okay, give me one. Hang on. And so, wait, let me just forward this. Forward. And so this guy this Officer Gallo takes the phone call at around 8:30 p.m. Sunday night, right? Sunday night, Hagåtña precinct. And he tells, after mocking Jean-Pierre Estrelado, he tells Mr. Estrelado, we'll send a unit. About an hour and a half later, Kandit was already on the scene. We had been waiting for an hour already. We went live. You guys, there was an outcry. We had at one time 717 live viewers at one time, I think it was, and people were upset. There's over 600 comments because I think the going feeling was if this can happen to the Estrelados, could it happen to me as well? And the answer is yes. If the person who you happen to be complaining against is well connected, like the Castros are. And so We've been digging into the Castro family and how it is that Andrew Castro, who is the guy that's seen on the video surveillance, attempting to burglarize the Estrelado home 3 times in one night, banging on the door, dislodging the door frame or the door jamb in the front and the back of the house, ripping open a screen door that was dead bolted in the back, destroying a whole lot of glass aquariums that were near the back door, taking offensive postures each time that he was trying to get into the house, waiting for somebody to open the door after he failed to kick the door or punch the door open, assaulting his girlfriend, who is seen in the video. This is all in living color. Well, actually, it's in black and white. The surveillance footage is in black and white. And the first time the Estrelados called the police, 4 police officers, including Andrew Castro's very close personal friend, Officer Tim Flores, respond. They take no evidence, even though the original complainant, who is Eugenio Estrelado, that's John Pierre's older brother. This is actually the main victim of this crime. Eugenio Estrelado offers the police this evidence, and those 4 officers refuse to take the evidence. They go to Andrew Castro's home, they speak with him, and they don't arrest him. They had the opportunity to do this last Tuesday. This was last week. And then, so the Estrelados had enough of the harassment and the phone calls and so this is the latest in what happens to be years of harassment, not just by Andrew Castro, but also by his family. And so they'd had enough. On Sunday night, they tried to call the police again. They asked us to come so that, a repeat of the first incident where their calls were just ignored doesn't happen again. And it's really not our presence, but it was your phone calls to the Guam Police Department that made things happen. And so on Sunday night, Jean Pierre called this instead of Eugenio because the aquariums belonged to Jean Pierre. The police responded, and the 6 officers who ended up responding throughout the night were very professional. They were very nice. It seemed like they did their jobs. They also went to Andrew Castro's home to arrest him for burglary and domestic violence, because very clearly it's in that video. They also took the evidence. A crime scene investigator showed up. And so he wasn't answering the door, and they didn't have a warrant of arrest, so they couldn't break the door down. So they leave. Well, it now has been 2 days, and according to Sergeant Paul Tapal, he hasn't been arrested. The backstory on Andrew Castro is that he is a seaport worker who was hired at the seaport on, I believe it was October 26, 2017. I might be getting the exact date wrong, but it's sometime in October of 2017, hired by former Seaport General Manager Joe Man Brown. And then right before Joe Man retired or resigned or whatever, left the port as the general manager in January 2019, he promoted Andrew Castro from casual stevedore to regular stevedore at the port. Both positions required him to work on the docks of the port, which is a highly secured area. And in order to work there, you needed a federal TSA clearance in the form of a TWIC card. TWIC stands for Transportation Worker Identification Credential. They call it a TWIC card. In order to get a TWIC card, TSA has to approve it. So how did he get a TWIC card? Because Andrew Castro, 2 months before being hired at the seaport, was just released from federal prison on federal drug charges, which is a disqualifying factor for the issuance of that TWIC card. How did he get the TWIC card? Well, we find out that Andrew Castro's dad, Larry Castro, is a retired, very high-placed captain in the Guam Police Department who wields considerable influence to this day over the Guam Police Department. He was also the former chairman of the Guam Police Commission, the commission that is supposed to be keeping the police department honest. And then we found out that Larry Castro is the former Assistant Federal Security Director of the Transportation Security Administration here on Guam. Yeah. Yeah, this you see all of these connections producing this cloud for a rainstorm of corruption and protection of a criminal. And perhaps the reason that to this day Andrew Castro still hasn't been arrested. And then we find out over the past few days, because of some of you who reminded us, you said, Kandit, hey, Kandit, you guys did a story about Larry Castro. And I was like, when did we do a story about Larry Castro? And they reminded us it was during the Blood Money series when we... when we reported on pages and pages of business license and corporate filings dealing with licensing for companies and people to operate Liberty machines in game rooms. Larry Castro is the president and part owner of C&B3 Corporation, also called Downtown King B Restaurant and Lounge, what used to be Downtown Q's in Anigua, and there's a game room in there. Larry Castro is a member of the Blood Money Mafia. He is part of the Guam Music Inc. licensing of Liberty machines. So not only is Mr. Castro connected to the Guam Police Department, to TSA, but he's also connected to the very powerful gambling industry on this island. And so it's no wonder that Andrew Castro has not been apprehended and arrested yet, because if this were anybody else, the Guam Police Department would have even had a high-speed chase to see this guy go down. And he hasn't yet, and it's very sad. You know what's even more sad is that yesterday, Eugenio Estrelado went to go get some help in getting a restraining order against Andrew Castro. And you know what they told him at the Attorney General's office? I'm sorry, we can't help you because we don't have the police report yet. Why don't they have the police report yet? So Mr. Estrelado had to go to the public defender's office, and despite them not having jurisdiction over this, they helped him out. He spent all day yesterday away from work. He has no more leave at his private sector job, and so this is being docked against his pay. I don't know if he's been back to work today, but this issue that Andrew Castro has with him has affected not only himself, but his family and his neighbors as well. These people are scared. And it's not so much that they're scared because they feel defenseless against the Castros. They're scared because they feel defenseless against the justice system that's supposed to be protecting them. And they're not. And if you listen to that phone call between Jean-Pierre and Officer Alexander Gallo, you'd understand why. That with complete impunity, he just mocks this entire situation. Do we have that ready for people to hear? Yeah, we can play it from my phone.
Hi, good evening. I'd like to make a report for damaged property.
Oh, what happened?
No, I just have some damaged business equipment that my mother's yard that was smashed up, and I wanted to make a report.
Oh, actually, I made a video of it. I'm sorry. So people can actually see who he is. And let's just play that. One second. Here it is. Or actually, it's better here. So as I understand it, Alexander Gallo is the one who looks like the fat girl next to Governor Lulian Guerrero. Go ahead and cast to my screen, and you'll see what I'm talking about. He's the... How come it's showing like it's like a very big... Yeah. So that's in the middle. There is okay. There's Governor Lulian Guerrero. Right next to Governor Lulian Guerrero is Police Officer 2 Alexander Gallo. Now I know what you're thinking. Maybe move it up just a little bit. I know that you're thinking that he really needs to wear a bra, but that's not for me to be the judge of that. That's just listen to this. Check this out. Follow now. Oh, whoops! Hold on. Sorry, I need to turn off the sound here. Sorry. Okay, go ahead. Hi, good evening. I'd like to make a report for damaged property.
Oh, what happened?
No, I just have some damaged business equipment on my mother's yard that was smashed up, and I wanted to make a report
Alright.
so I can press charges on the person.
How did it happen?
I didn't even know what happened. I just went back there. All the tanks were all broken. I have my aquariums, some equipment. My boat was moved around. All these things.
Man, you don't miss aquariums. Yeah, I'm gonna send them right away. They broke your aquariums?
They just
I am a fanatic, sir. Where do you live?
150 Teresita Street.
One more time?
150 Teresita Street, Mangilaw.
Oh shit! Don't tell me this is what's your name?
My name is Jean Pierre. Did you just call me Troy?
Oh, dude. Okay. Is your shop still open?
Yeah, it's still open.
Every time I go there, it's fucking closed.
We open 1 to 8.
Oh, I wonder why. What's your callback number, Jean-Pierre?
Jean, it's 688-3364.
3364. So right when you take Teresita, you just keep going straight, right?
Just in the corner of the house.
You're by Castro,
Yes.
correct?
Can I get your name, sir?
Okay. Officer Gallo.
Officer Gallo. All right. How long will it be till I get a unit?
We'll have to announce it to see who's closer.
Okay.
Oh, wait. So you're saying someone broke it?
It's smashed. Yeah.
How? Who? Your neighbor?
That's who shows on the video.
Your neighbor? Oh, that's not damaged property. That's criminal mischief.
Okay. So criminal mischief, and so if you break something, that's not damage.
No, criminal mischief is higher in.
Oh, so I can go higher than damaged property.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll show them the video, and then they'll decipher. Okay.
They'll decipher. Okay.
Decipher what you have there.
Should I put together like
Yeah, something
like
that you can
the value?
give them, what you call it? You give them something to download or.
Yeah, we have
put together
everything.
with your case. Give them USB. What do you call those things?
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, so before they get there ready.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, brother. Sure.
So we're gonna call the office of the chief of police and see what in the world is going on with Fat Boy Officer Alexander Castro. Gallo, sorry.
This is John. How may I help you?
Hi, John. Is the chief there?
Hello?
Hi, John.
Oh, yes, sir.
Is the chief there?
Oh, he's currently out right now.
Okay. What days is he in?
What
The-
is he in?
Yeah, what days are he in the office?
Oh,
It's just that every time I call, he's out of the office, like every single time.
oh, thinking right now he's currently at teaching a class at GCC.
He's teaching a class at GCC. Is the special assistant to the chief there?
He just went out to lunch as well.
Is there anyone I can talk to regarding the conduct of police officers?
Oh, I'll give you Miss Sue, the secretary. May I get your name, sir?
This is Troy Torres with Kandit.
Oh, give me one moment.
Thank you, John. Hi, Susan. Happy New Year.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. What's up, my friend?
Hey, a couple of nights ago, John Pierre Estrelado from Manila made a phone call to the Hagåtña precinct for service, and the person who answered the phone was Officer Alexander Gallo. And Officer Gallo, we have this on a phone recording, was mocking Mr. Estrelado. It's a very clear mockery of him, and then failed to dispatch a unit to respond to his complaint for about an hour and a half. And it took dozens of phone calls from other people to report this crime, including Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes and Senator James Moylan, before Officer Gallo finally told Speaker Barnes that he was going to dispatch a unit at that moment. So it was 1.5 hours before he ever told anybody about the crime. How does the Estrelado family go about making a complaint against Officer Alexander Gallo?
Oh, it's he can go to our internal affairs section to file an official complaint.
Okay. Also, Susan, do you know if the what do you call that? The fitness standards also apply to Officer Alexander Gallo?
The physical fitness?
Yes.
You know what? I know it's applicable to all of the officers, but let me find out from the SACAP.
Okay. I mean, you've seen him, right? I'm looking at a picture of him, and he doesn't look like he fits physical fitness standards for the Guam Police Department.
Okay. Let me have the lieutenant call you back regarding that, Troy. I cannot respond for that regarding that.
Yes, please. I'd like to know how he has passed his physical fitness standards and whether he's even been assessed. That would be a second thing.
He has been assessed. Okay.
Okay?
Okay. What number can we call you back?
At 456
456?
4237.
Okay. And then you have this another one here, right? The one showing on my ID caller?
Yes.
The
That's
6397?
that's the line. That's the landline.
Okay. Yeah, if is that Estrellado, did you say?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, if they wish to file a complaint regarding him, they may do so at internal affairs section.
Or anybody can do so, right?
Oh no, he can file it at internal affairs regarding employees.
Okay. Thank you, Susan. Thank you so
You're
much for your
welcome.
help. I'll let the Estrelado family know.
Okay.
Thank
okay.
you.
All right.
Bye.
You take care.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
You know she wanted to laugh. You know Susan wanted to laugh. That's what that pause was about. You know that there was that pause in her voice because she had to press mute and start laughing. But it's a real thing. How can we put that? Let me put his picture back on so you guys can see. How in the world, how did this guy pass the physical standards inspection or the physical fitness inspection? How? He needs a bra, for crying out loud. A bigger bra than the governor has. How's that for fanatic, Officer Gallo? Anyway, it's just such a ridiculous thing. Now, oh gosh, it's probably lunchtime, right, at government agencies, because I want to call. We have been getting several emails and messages from people in the Commonwealth that they are starting to experience what Guam began to experience 20 years ago, and that is a delay in the processing of their tax refunds. That there are people who filed all the way back in January and February of last year who still have not received their tax refunds. Now, if that happened in Guam, then the government would be held in contempt of the Piesti ruling, in contempt of a court order. Now, I don't know and I don't think that a class action taxpayer lawsuit has been filed against the government of the CNMI for this same sort of thing. But if this is something that is widespread, it is something that would be ripe for some sort of taxpayer class action lawsuit against the government of the CNMI. So let me just get the phone number of the person who, wait, hold on. Let me just make sure I got the name right. I believe it's a Tracy Norita, if I'm not mistaken, who is the director of the Department of Revenue and Taxation there. Let me just double check. Yes, Tracy Norita, CNMI Director, Department of Revenue and Taxation. And if any of our viewers has the number, if you could just put it into the comments section. CNMI Department of Finance. Contact us. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Office.
Hi, may I be connected to the Department of Revenue and Taxation, please?
You need to call directly.
Okay, what's the number?
1000 664 1000.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh, I just had a thought. What if their DRT is like our DRT and they don't answer the phones? Yeah.
Person you have dialed can't take your call now.
I guess it's not just Guam. Oh, Lordy.
Good afternoon, Secretary of Finance Office.
Hi, may I please speak with the secretary or his assistant?
I'm sorry, the Secretary is currently off island and the acting Secretary is out to lunch.
Does the acting secretary have an assistant? Or does the department have a spokesman?
No, you would just have to speak to the Secretary.
Okay, how about an assistant to the acting secretary or the secretary?
It's the acting Secretary.
Oh, the acting secretary is the assistant to the secretary.
Well, yes.
Okay, does the acting secretary have an assistant?
No.
No? Okay. Who within the Department of Finance can I talk to regarding tax refunds?
Either the Secretary or the Director of Rev and Tax.
Okay.
You're talking about tax refunds?
Yes.
Like income tax?
Yes, ma'am.
You can call the Director of Revenue and Taxation.
May I have the director's direct line?
It's 664-1098.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Why don't they make the phone numbers to Department of Revenue and Taxation here on Guam like 635-1040? You know what I mean? Or 1041. Is there such a thing as a 1041?
No.
Oh.
1048.
Oh, okay. 1040 extension A.
Oh, I think it's no more 1040. I think it's just 1040 now.
It's all just 1040 now.
I think so. Someone put 646 1,000 rings.
Let me see that. 646 1,000 rings. Guillermo Beneventi says they don't answer never. Oh, Pat and Norma Jean Flores said there is a 1041. I wonder what that's for. Okay, I think maybe this is one of those things where we're going to have to put it on our list of things to do when we actually go to Saipan. Because apparently, according to Guillermo Beneventi, they never answer the phones. Oh my gosh. We just want to ask about tax refunds for the people of the Commonwealth. All right. We're going to have to skip that story, at least for this morning. And Commonwealth residents waiting for your tax refunds, it's on our radar. We just need to get more information on it. Oh, we have an update from the office of Senator Regine Lee regarding Senator James Moylan's bill to apply hazard pay to customs officers. The bill has not even reached the Committee on Rules yet. It's still undergoing an Office of Finance and Budget review. That's the pre-referral process for every bill that comes that is introduced in the legislature. So that means that this bill is still with Senator Joe San Augustine's committee. So that means it can't be referred yet until it comes out of that Office of Finance and Budget. Let's go to our next story. And I think now we go into the story regarding police corruption in the CNMI. You know what I want to do? Is actually read this letter from the victim. Let me see if I can just make this bigger. You can go to my screen if you want. I don't know if people can see this. This is an interview taken January 19, 2019. We blotted out all of the identifying information. I am, the victim's name, a resident of somewhere in Saipan, CNMI. I'm currently employed as a redacted information with the Bureau of Motor Vehicles of the Department of Public Safety for the past 2 years. Sometime around August or September 2018, in the late morning hours, say around 11 a.m., I was washing the rice that Bureau of Motor Vehicles Director Juana C. Leon Guerrero had told me to make for our lunch that afternoon when Johnny Guerrero, Commissioner Robert Guerrero's son, opened the back door of the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, looked at me, and then yelled, this is the person's name, "Why are you looking at people's time cards?" That's it. And it has been told to me that that's how he sounded. I then looked at him and said, "Johnny, I wasn't looking at other people's time cards." When he replied, "Just wait, I'm going to tell my dad." I'm going to tell my dad. No, okay, the rest of this is not funny, but this part, I'm going to tell my dad. I don't think I've ever used that comment. I don't, like, even when I was a kid, I never said that. Because if my dad got involved, like not only would the other person be in trouble, I would be in trouble too for being in trouble. So I was then scared to tell my dad anything. Just wait, I'm going to tell my dad. Okay. All right, seriously then. I then began to follow him from behind and said to him again, I wasn't looking at people's time cards. Johnny kept walking away and said to me, no. It was at this point that my supervisor, Edgar Pangilinan, remember that name, okay, approached us and told us to stop. About a week and a half later, I received a termination letter from Johnny's dad. From Johnny's dad. He told his dad, Commissioner Robert A. Guerrero. And then on that same day, he left, the commissioner, off island on official business. The termination letter was delivered to me by Internal Affairs investigator Olimpio Muña. I hope I'm getting that name correctly. Yeah. And accompanied by Internal Affairs investigator Alexander Sakisat. I then asked the both of them, why am I being served with a termination letter when the justification in the letter is not true? When Olimpio responded, that's the commissioner's call, and should you have any questions, you should speak to your supervisor. Alex and Olimpio then left, and I went to look for my supervisor, Edgar Pangilinan. I found Edgar at his office and asked him, what happened, Edgar? Why did you say these things about my performance when you know it's not true? Edgar then replied, I'm sorry, it's not me. Somebody told me to do it. I really felt bullied at that point. I was confused and angry at the same time and just walked away to my office and cried. While I was at the registration section, Edgar got up from his chair and walked out. I then later got up and walked out to the driver's license section to time out because it was almost 4:30 p.m. already. As soon as I opened the door to the driver's license section, my coworker, John Ariola, approached me and said, wait, because Edgar walked to DPS Central to talk about you. I replied, about me? What's that about? And he said, they're going to have a chat about you. And as John was saying this, I began walking toward my car and then left. About 10 minutes later, another coworker, Naomi Pangilinan, called me and said to me on my cell phone, where are you at? I said, why? And she replied, me and Edgar just came from Director K's Enos office. Edgar was trying to help you. He told Director K not to proceed with the termination transaction, but Director K said to Edgar that she couldn't do anything about the termination because it's the commissioner's call, and he left off island. Naomi then said, we're trying to help you. We all are. I just said to her, I'm driving. I need to call you guys back. That same day, at around 5 p.m., I decided to contact the CNMI Office of Personnel Management. For some reason, the phone was answered, and I began telling them about what had happened to me. I was then referred to the executive assistant of the Civil Service Commission by the name of Therese, don't know her last name, and she began taking my complaint. Therese advised me to see the commissioner first and speak to him in order to resolve the issue. Because of her advice, I continued to come to work in order to wait for the commissioner to return from his trip so we could discuss my termination. While Commissioner Guerrero was off island, I called his office and spoke to Officer Patrick Ariola to set an appointment to see him. When Commissioner Guerrero returned about a week after he left, I called his office every day to follow up on the status of my request to see him. Finally, about a week after, Commissioner Guerrero arrived from his off-island trip, and me calling Officer Patrick Ariola to follow up again, he finally told me that the commissioner will be available that same afternoon to see me at around 2 p.m. At around 2 p.m., I went to Commissioner Guerrero's office located at the northern end of the two-story building. As soon as I entered his office's reception area, he looked out through the open door to his office, pointed at me, and said, "Come in." I then walked in and saw Glenn Robigo sitting on a chair inside his office. I sat quite a distance from him because I thought that I needed to have space from him in order to be professional. Commissioner Guerrero, however, said to me, "Come sit near me," and signaled me to sit at a chair that was right next to where he was seated. I then got up and sat next to him. Commissioner Guerrero then asked, "What do you want to see me for?" I replied, "It's in regards to my termination." He then asked, "What's going on?" I said, "Is this about me and Johnny's argument?" Because Edgar, when he just put me off and signaled me to stop and said, "Forget about Edgar, forget about Johnny. You're going to be at my Capitol Hill office. I'm going to transfer you here." I'm going to transfer you there. I then told him, I don't want to be transferred there because I'm already familiar with my job there, referring to the BMV. When he said, "I'm going to move you away from there. I'm going to transfer you to Capitol Hill. You still want to be employed here, right?" And I said, "Yes." When he responded, "Tomorrow, you're effectively transferred to Capitol Hill." I then got up from my chair and said, "Okay." As I was getting up, when to my surprise, he leaned towards me and touched my right butt. When he did this, I looked at Glenn, but he was staring down at his cell phone. I continued to stare at him as I began towards the exit door. Glenn was just looking at his cell phone screen the entire time. I was very uncomfortable and shocked about what happened. When Commissioner Guerrero touched the right portion of my butt, I felt a grip from his left hand from the squeeze he made. Commissioner Guerrero followed me to the door to his office and said, "We'll see you tomorrow." Disgusting. I reported to his Capitol Hill office as he instructed me. I was there alone most of the time, but did almost nothing but to answer the telephone or file documents. I would also go in and out of the office to coordinate for the haunted house program. Whenever I am at DPS Central to meet as part of the haunted house coordination activities, and I get a chance to see Commissioner Guerrero, I asked him to transfer me back to BMV, but each time he rejected my request. At some time after Halloween Day 2018, I asked Olimpio Muña, whom I assigned to work together with the Capitol Hill office, to help me convince the commissioner to transfer me back to Capitol Hill. Olimpio agreed to help me, and he persuaded Commissioner Guerrero to do so. By that Monday, at some time after Halloween, I reported back to BMV after Olimpio had texted me over the weekend that Commissioner Guerrero had agreed to have me report back to BMV. The next time I met Commissioner Guerrero was during an after-lunch Thanksgiving party held at the Aquarius Beachside for the Department of Public Safety. I believe we have the photos of that. Someone sent those photos. While at the party, Commissioner Guerrero waved at me to come to him because I was getting ready to leave the party. I walked towards him where he was sitting with Officer Danny Joab and a couple of other police officers. Commissioner Guerrero then, while seated, placed his hand around my neck and pulled me towards his face. He then whispered in my left ear, "How are you?" I said, "I'm okay, everything is okay." He then responded by shaking his head and saying, "Tis, tis, be careful what you wish for." I said, "What?" He repeated, "I said, be careful what you wish for. Happy Thanksgiving and enjoy your Thanksgiving." I then began to walk away from him, and as I turned back to look at him, he said again, "Be careful what you wish for." I then left with Naomi Pangilinan, who witnessed the whole event. At some time in December 2018, at around 10 a.m., my supervisor, Edgar Pangilinan, called me into the BMV director's office so that I could be evaluated for my job performance. As he presented my evaluation report, I noticed that I was once again rated unsatisfactory on all categories. I asked Edgar, this is This is the same thing as before. Edgar replied, Director Juana told me to do it because it's coming from the commissioner. I met with Commissioner Guerrero shortly after this encounter at his office, but do not remember the exact date. I confronted him about my evaluation by telling him my evaluation was rated the same as before. He then just laughed at me and said, Remember what I said before. Be careful what you wish for, right? You didn't listen. You didn't listen. Just trashed the paper, referring to the evaluation report. Commissioner Guerrero then told me, just go back to BMV and forget about the evaluation. I then explained to him that I didn't want to go back there because that my peace is being disturbed. He then asked me, do you want to go back to internal affairs? I said, no, I don't want to be at internal affairs because I really didn't want to be at any place where I'd be close to the commissioner. He then asked me, where do you want to go? And I said, I just don't want to be at motor vehicles. Commissioner Guerrero then told me, go back to motor vehicles. I'll transfer you out to highway safety. As soon as he did this, I walked quickly toward the door to exit out of fear that he would try to physical contact at me again. When he too walked quickly towards me, wrapped his left hand around my waist from behind, with his front body portion making contact with the back portion of my body. He then leaned towards me, my face in an attempt to kiss me on my lips, but I turned and he ended up kissing me on my right cheek. As he kissed my right cheek, he made a moaning sound and said, I then pushed him away with my right elbow when he gave me a really angry look. Somebody walked in at around the same time, so he moved away from me and tried to fix his posture. And then he said to me, just go back to motor vehicles, and then he slammed the door. I then walked back to BMV. Commissioner Guerrero had told me to when Commissioner Guerrero called Director Juana C. Leon Guerrero. Soon after, I saw Director Juana C. Leon Guerrero and Edgar Pangilinan walk over to the commissioner's office. A short time later, they both returned, and they said to me to forget about the evaluation and that everything is okay. I then encountered problems getting paid. I brought the matter to the attention of Ms. Esther B. De Los Reyes at the Human Resources Unit. I told her that I wasn't getting paid for about a month and that Loida from the Department of Finance had said that my employment with their system had expired. She said that she will get back to me as soon as possible, but she never did. About 2 days later, BMV Director Juana C. Leon Guerrero called me and gave my notice of personnel action, making me a full-time civil service employee. As Director Leon Guerrero gave me my personnel action, she said, congratulations. You're now a civil service. Continue doing good work here in the department, and then I left her office. The next evening, Valentine's Day, Commissioner Guerrero texted and said that I owed him and that it's time for him to collect. I played along with him to see what his intentions were and what he meant by saying time to collect. When he finally indicated that he wanted to go for a drive, I felt that he just wanted to have me provide sexual favors to him. During our text conversations, he set the time for us to meet behind BMV the next day at 11 a.m. He came the next day, but I didn't get out of the BMV office. I never did, so he left. About 3 months later, Commissioner Guerrero reassigned me to the Highway Safety Office. At some time in September 2018, I was checking our inbox by Commissioner Guerrero's new office when he saw me and called me into his office. I sat on a chair across his desk. He then got up from his chair and sat on another chair next to me. He then placed his left hand on my lap and asked, have you seen Edgar? I said, yes, a few times. He then asked, do you know if he's onto something, if he's going to do something stupid? And I said, no. I don't know anything. He then said, the word is around that he's trying to file a complaint against me. I said, I don't know anything. He then said, okay. So I got up and left his office. This past Friday at around 7 a.m., I was in front of the Highway Safety Office on my phone, talking to a mechanic from Joten Motors, following up on my car, which was being repaired when the commissioner pulled his car in and got out. He then said, "Come over." So I went to him. He asked, "What's going on?" I told him, "It's my evaluation." So he asked me if I've been talking to Edgar, and I told him no. Commissioner Guerrero then told me that he will transfer me back to motor vehicles, but that I cannot be transferred anywhere where Edgar and Naomi Pangilinan are at. At around 10 a.m. that same morning, I was confronted by Internal Affairs investigator Alex Sakusat and was told they received a phone call this morning that somebody filed a complaint against the commissioner, and it was referred to the AG's office. I told him that I didn't know anything about it. Alex then said, "If you know anything about it, you better speak up." I just said I didn't know anything, so he left. About 30 minutes later, Alex came into Margaret Camacho's office, her supervisor. He stayed in there for about 30 minutes. The two of them met. Margaret then left and returned. About an hour and a half later, she called me into her office and presented me 2 evaluation reports against me. Both were rated unsatisfactory. She told me, "This is your evaluation." I redid it. This is now from me and Juana. I then asked her, why am I signing Juana's evaluation when her evaluation was supposed to be from last year? She just repeated, "This is your evaluation. This is from me and Juana. And if you don't agree, just sign where it says disagree. And it's up to the commissioner if he wants to continue to employ you." I signed where it said disagree and gave it to her. I have worked in other places, but have never encountered any of the incidents I faced while working at the Department of Public Safety. I really felt intimidated, harassed, and bullied by Commissioner Guerrero at the Department of Public Safety. I am officially going on the record that everything I had said in this statement is true. I declare under the penalty of perjury that this statement is true and correct to the best of my knowledge, recollections, ability, and belief. So we have an update on this matter, and it is that the complaint that this woman, that we just read from this woman, that was filed at the Attorney General's office and went nowhere, was actually filed first at the governor's office. And the governor's office deployed former DPS Commissioner James De Leon Guerrero to investigate the matter, and the investigation went nowhere. We also have word from several sources that this woman is not the only woman who has been sexually assaulted by Commissioner Robert Guerrero, that there are other women who currently work at the Department of Public Safety who are too scared to say anything because of the connections between the commissioner and the governor, and how the governor has been protecting the commissioner this entire time. And if they say anything, and these women say anything, their jobs, as you can see from the detail that this woman provides, will be in jeopardy, and the jobs of their families will be in jeopardy as well. It's such a terrible, terrible situation. As we've said time and time again on Kandit, the worst form of corruption is police corruption, and it's because when police corruption happens, where are you supposed to go for help? Just like in the Estrelado case. Where are you supposed to go for help when the people who you're supposed to rely on, the police, aren't there to help you? They're actually there to protect those who are hurting you. Let's go to your comments. Pam Duval says, Susan is the voice, talking about Susan and GPD, when everyone else hides from Troy the Destroyer. Pat and Norma Jean Flores says, we do answer, LOL. She's talking about the Department of Revenue and Taxation. Yes, certain phone numbers at DRT do answer. You just have to know what those phone numbers are. Pat says 635-1840-4142 or 09. No, those are good numbers to have, guys. 635-1840, 635-1841, 635-1842, and 635-1809. Jacob Nakamura asks, Troy, is Chief Ignacio being paid personally by GCC to teach classes? If so, is he on leave? Well, we'll find out, Jacob. Thank you. Jacob asks, any update from the Guam AG on Janela Carrero taking vacation and not signing leave? Yes, actually, we do have an update. Let me just get that. So a few days ago, Carlina Charfers from the Attorney General's office said that while the matter was under review by the AG's office, talking about Janela Carrero, to call the Department of Administration for further detail on the investigation. So we called Mike Schnipp, who is the acting human resources administrator with the Department of Administration, and we asked what's going on, and he had no idea what we were talking about because if it's a criminal investigation, it should be with the department or with the Attorney General's office. So I messaged Carlina yesterday and said, hi, Carlina, regarding the Janela Carrera inquiry, you told me to check DOA. DOA said they don't know why the AG would refer the inquiry to them. May I know what's happening? She said, I referred to them because DOA would handle any type of conversion. Should have led with that, sorry. So I said, can you help me understand what this conversion thing is? DOA was the agency that gave me the documents showing no such conversion of hours, just a straight up forgery of documents, either on the agency side, the governor's office, or the DOA side. So then Carlina called. And she said that she apologized for the confusion and that the matter is under review at the Attorney General's office. And wait, I wrote down what she said. It is under our radar. It is under review. It is still early to say whether the review will result in criminal action. It is possible, according to Carlina Charfris, regarding the Janela Carrera matter. Pat and Norma Jean Flores say, IRS Form 1041, income tax returns for estate and trust. Oh, that will never be. I will never have that form. Sylvia Nicholas says, officer thought that the person reporting the incident was Troy. This is talking about Officer Alexander Fatboy Gallo. Maybe that's the reason why the officer for GPD to show up was delayed. Officer Gallo jumped too fast on the name Troy, and I wonder why. Jacob Nakamura says, what's up with Senator Joe San Augustine and the blood money bill he is holding hostage? Oh, we have an update on that too, Jacob, and that is that Senator San Augustine actually did. Oh, you know what? You're absolutely right. It's in his committee now. So at first, he was the one who was holding up the pre-referral report from the Office of Finance Budget that prevented the Committee on Rules from referring the bill by Senator Selena Nelson. Senator San Augustine ended up giving that pre-referral report. The Committee on Rules ended up referring the bill to Senator Joe San Augustine's committee. Maybe we can call the senator and ask him right now what's going on. Hold on one sec. Guam Legislature. Senators. No one's answering the senator's office line. That was Senator Joe San Augustine we were trying to get a hold of. Let's go back to your comments. Angie Hokuk says, hey, you got the accent right. I think that was my Johnny Guerrero accent, right? I'm gonna tell my dad. He and Castro belong together, Nate Horn says. You're talking about Commissioner Robert Guerrero and Andrew Castro? Is that who you're talking about, Nate? Greg and Tracy Valenzuela Tebet says Lustima the officer and still runs to daddy. Junie Tudela says composure. We're probably talking about my composure, like I lost my composure. Pam Duvall says talk about the runaround. Pam Duvall says pervert, talking about Commissioner Robert Guerrero. Greg and Tracy Valenzuela Tebet says, yum yum, LMFAO. Jonathan DLC Garces says, good evening, boss. Nate Horn says, Harvey Weinstein all over again. Yeah, no kidding. Lengers Dimaki Luta says, wonder if she still has that text. Yes, she does. Donna Peter Metal says, oh, this is a new one. Punlila Puta. Oh my gosh, girlfriend, I love you. I love that so much. Puruhat Chetsu Manganiti. The devil's work all the time. Nate Horn says, it's a personnel matter. That has to be regarding one of the phone calls, right? Donna Metal says, I hope that her voice is heard. This government is so bad that even employees are fearing for their lives. Case in point, Alan Boyer de la Cruz. Case in point. Kathy Garcia says, daddy's boy. I don't remember. Is there any other news that we have? Maybe there is, and I just forgot. Hold on one second. Oh, you know what? There is something we have to follow up on.
Serve Integrated Marketing Communications at the University of Guam. I'm unavailable to take your call right now. Please leave your name and number, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks.
Start recording at the tone. When finished, press the pound key.
Hi, Jonas. This is my third follow-up call. It's been 2 weeks that we've been waiting for an answer on what business the university had buying things on credit cards from Macy's and the Beng Teng Spa. And also other suspicious charges on credit cards at the University of Guam. Can you please give me a call back at 456-4237? This is Troy Torres. Thank you. Let's call his boss.
University of Guam President's Office.
Hi, is Dr. Crease there?
This is Cynthia. How can I help you?
This is Troy Torres with Kandit News. Hi, Cynthia. Hello?
Yes, go ahead. He's not answering in his office. I picked up his line.
Oh, okay. Well, hello. Cynthia, do you have any information on our questions that we've been asking for a couple of weeks now regarding Macy's and Beng Teng Spa credit card charges on University of Guam credit cards?
Who did you send that statement or those questions to? Because I don't recall receiving it.
To Jonas Macapinlac, and he hasn't responded to any of our phone calls.
Okay, we need to talk to Jonas. Can I transfer you to him?
He didn't answer his phone when I called.
Oh, he didn't answer his phone either.
Mm-hmm.
I can take a message.
I left a message. I've left several messages for him. Will Dr. Crease be there this afternoon?
I'm pretty sure, but I don't know what his schedule is like.
We can come with our camera crew and just wait in your office for him.
What time will you be coming?
What time will he be there?
I don't know his schedule.
Are you his secretary?
No, I'm not. I'm just taking his call.
Okay. Is his secretary there?
No, I'm sorry. She's out to lunch.
Okay. All right, I think we'll just swing by this afternoon with our camera crew.
All right.
If Jonas doesn't give us a call back. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You want to go to UOG, Chelu? You're down? I don't like being ignored. It's like a thing. When I have a question that I want answered, you know what I mean? Like, do you guys like being ignored? I don't like being ignored. And I said hello to Cynthia, and she didn't even say it. I said hello to her like 3 times. Like, how discourteous is that, Cynthia? Seriously. What kind of chamorro is that? Anyway, Jesse Mendiola says, we can come with our camera crew. That's what's up. Biba Guam is asking about the shirts. Biba Guam, we are likely going to figure out the website e-commerce thing to post the blah, blah, blah onto the website. So maybe by tonight we'll have some in-house advertising about the shirts and the stickers that you can purchase on our website. Jacob, what you missed is we tried to call Jacob, Jonas Macapinlac and Dr. Thomas Crease after Jonas Macapinlac for the 3rd or 4th time failed to answer our phone calls or return our phone calls regarding the UOG credit card scandal. We kind of let that story go by the wayside the past couple of weeks, but it's too much. It's been 2 weeks since we put in these questions about the Macy's charges and the Beng Teng Spa charges. And I remember after we put out that Macy's story, people were coming to Dr. Rachel Leon Guerrero's defense, saying, "Oh, there's probably a logical explanation for all of this." Well, it has been 2 weeks since we asked for that logical explanation, and none has come, which tells me that there was something stupid that happened at UOG, and that there is not a good reason for the use of that credit card for Macy's purchases. Jacob says, can you check Senator Joseph Augustine on why he is holding hostage the blood money bill? Yes, Jacob, we just tried to call Senator Joseph Augustine's office, and there's no answer at his office. We'll try again. Johnny says, Beng Teng confirmed it was for 9 massages. Yes, we got a Facebook Messenger from the Beng Teng Spa that whoever was controlling that account actually remembers booking the 9 massages that led to the $450 credit card charge on a government-issued credit card by Dr. James Selman, the Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences, over at the Ocean View Beng Teng Spa at the Loti Guam Resort. Ben Atal says, Biba Tal Guam Amri. Thank you, Ben. Jesse Mendiola says, public hearing tomorrow on public safety at 1 p.m. Please come down and let your voices be heard. Oh, I wonder if this is an oversight hearing. Denise Legaspi says, they're most likely to be at King's for lunch. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Patrick Pangolinan says, the part that they say, don't let me tell my dad, and he's laughing. That was my favorite part, too. I'm going to tell my dad. Oh, that's my favorite part.
But Johnny, I didn't. No.
Jacob says, sorry, I had to step away. I'm here at the airport checking in for my $17,000 flight in honor of Governor Torres. Jesse Mendiola says to us regarding Senator Joseph Augustine's office, they've been giving me the runaround. Pam Duvall says to Jesse regarding the hearing, the 1 p.m. public safety hearing tomorrow, I'm going to try to get off work early for that hearing. That's a point. Pam Duvall is making a point here that these hearings that the legislature has, 9 a.m., 1 p.m. on weekdays when everybody's at work, do not serve the public interest. So senators need to start learning how to hold their hearings after working hours. Since they're full-time and they say that they work all the time and they work for their money, they should have absolutely no problem holding oversight in public hearings after working hours so that everybody can participate. Let's try Senator Joseph Augustine's office one more time. Hi, this is Troy Torres.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, may I help you?
Yes, this is Troy Torres with Kandit News.
I'm sorry. You're you're cutting off.
This is Troy Torres with Kandit News. Can you hear me?
You're cutting off, sir.
Yeah, this is Troy Torres with Kandit News. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
We're calling to get an update on the status of Senator Selena Nelson's anti-gambling bill.
And that would be Bill.
Oh, hold on. Let me get it.
Okay. Could I have your name and number, and I'll have our chief of staff call you up, okay?
Who's your chief of staff?
Okay, your number?
Who's your chief of staff?
Rose Mesa?
Ma'am, it's Bill 226.
226, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
What is the status of, when is that bill going to have a public hearing?
I really don't know. I can ask Rose, but she's not here. She's out for lunch right now.
Okay, is the senator there?
No, he's not either.
Okay, all right. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank
okay,
you.
bye-bye.
Bye. Hold on, because there's actually a really important phone call that we need to make that I forgot about. This was the most important phone call of the day, and I nearly forgot about it.
Company Custom.
Hi, may I please speak with the director or the chief of customs?
They are currently out. Would you like to leave a message?
Do you have an internal affairs unit or a commander of troops or anything like that?
We do have IA, but he's currently working on investigations right now.
Working on investigations right now. Is one of those investigations into Officer Gene Egros?
I wouldn't know anything about that, sir.
Okay. Can I leave a message for either the director or the chief of customs to give me a call back?
Sure.
My name is Troy Torres.
Okay. Troy Torres. Okay.
My phone number is 456
Yes.
4237.
4237. Okay.
And this is about Officer Gene Egros not turning over drug evidence that he confiscated.
Okay, got it. I will relay your message as soon as possible.
Thank you. Who am I speaking with?
This is Nicole.
Nicole. Thank you, Nicole.
Okay.
Okay, you have a good day. Okay. All right, guys. I'm Troy Torres with Kandit News. Over on the board is Eric Rosario for Kandit News. Y'all have a good day.